Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to do an update to a very popular video that I did about 2 weeks ago, which was titled, Man Calls Off Engagement to Fiancée After Ugly Details of Her Past Comes Out and She Loses It. And guys, I gotta tell you, after reading this guy's update a couple times this morning, this update, in my opinion, is just as good as the first one, the original story. This is the Godfather Part 2 updates. So for you guys that really enjoyed the first part of this guy's story, his original story here, you're really going to enjoy the second one. And as a quick recap, this is all about the guy who was with his girlfriend for 4 years, really thought he had a good thing going, obviously good enough that he proposed to her. They were going to be married, and I believe they were due to be married pretty soon, within a few months. And in that time period, they had developed a couple that they would hang out with, a man and a woman. And this guy in the couple they would hang out with all the time, his fiancée claimed this as a friend from childhood. Okay, fine. And they hung out a lot, and eventually where this guy, the guy telling this story, would hang out with this other guy as well, sometimes the two of them. And his fiancée, or now ex-fiancée, even convinced him to have this guy in the wedding. But he's like, all right, sure, we're all having a good time because his girlfriend will be a part of her bridal party, no problem. One day, the guy telling this story goes out fishing with his fiance's dad and brother. And essentially they let it out that this dude, who all along they've been hanging out with, is his fiance's ex-boyfriend. And worse yet, she wanted to marry him, but he didn't want to. So she broke up with him and then started dating this dude 4 months later. So for 4 years, she has lied over the fact that this guy they hang out with, this couple friend, is in fact her ex-boyfriend, who she wanted to marry. And as you can imagine, this guy didn't take it very well, quite understandably. And pretty much he let out that he knew about this. Big fight erupted, that's the best way to describe it, and he called off the engagement. And as you can imagine, the girl denied it, said that's not a big deal. You know, there was nothing going on. I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. I love you, blah, blah, blah. But this guy, his gut told him, don't trust her. And I believe upon reading the original story, this guy was already a little hesitant about marriage anyway, because everybody in his family are divorced. Imagine that. And now this whole thing's coming about because it ended with him ending the engagement with her, but still staying with her because they were stuck in an apartment together and figuring things out. And I told him, I said, look, dude, there's a reason she kept this guy close in your life. In my opinion, probably because she wanted to marry him originally, hoping to probably make him jealous, that maybe that he would see that she's getting close to getting married soon, might change his mind, some bullshit like that. But you can't trust her. 4 years, and you're hanging out with her ex, the guy she wanted to marry, and the lying and all that, not to mention the fact that, hey, are they hooking up all along? These are very important questions to ask. Now we're getting into part 2, where you're going to see all the stuff that happens after part 1, and stuff that goes down with his family, her, and finally you're going to see, and you're going to find out, guys, if in fact she was hooking up with this guy all along, or some of the times. That will be answered at the end of this story. So there's a lot of good stuff here I think you guys will enjoy. Again, this is like Godfather Part 2, because this is just as good, if in fact not better, than the original. So it starts off, and by the way, thank you for sticking with me for that long recap. I tend to get carried away. I'm in a good mood this morning, full of energy. He says, hello, SSM. I'm the guy that wrote in and asked for advice about what to do after I found that my fiancée lied to me about her old friend that was really an old boyfriend. You made a video of it called Man Calls Off Engagement. Well, you guys all know that. And I wanted to thank you and your community for the advice that you all gave. It really helped me see my situation a lot more clearly. Yes, guys, thank you. A lot of you guys commented on that video. I mean, there's a shitload of comments on there. And if you, by any chance, didn't see it, I will post a link to the original video here, and you can comment away. But lots of guys help this dude out. And that's what I want, guys. I want you guys to comment, because a lot of these guys write in, and they need advice. They're a little bit... They only see things one way, and they need outside opinion from dudes all over the world, all ages, all experiences. It really helps them out. So thank you. He says, I guess I'm going to start with the most important part. I previously called off our engagement, but I've since ended our relationship. I just couldn't get past the idea that she was able to lie to me for 4 years and rubbing her ex in my face. Exactly. Who the hell would do that? Well, today's world, nothing surprises me. I spent about a week thinking about every possibility of what a relationship with someone like that could do and smile at me would be like. None of my conclusions ended in a happy marriage. There were some interesting things that happened over the 2 weeks since I sent you my story, and while it sucks, I think you might find it very entertaining. It was the third day after I confronted Rachel at dinner with Belle and Eric that I came home after work and found Rachel and both of our moms waiting for me in the apartment. Oh, an intervention, if you will, with 3 emotional women. That sure was a lot of fun. When I asked them what was going on, they said they wanted to talk about everything. At this point, I was still on the fence about staying in the relationship with her, so I sat down, and for the next hour, the 3 of them did their best to explain how I was overreacting. Of course, you're the bad guy here. She's been lying to you 4 years, rubbing her ex in the face, certainly having you question a lot of things, but you are overreacting. Now, guys, remember how I tell you all the time, never take advice from women about relationships, dating, pickup, all that, because it's not going to go well. Because women, number one, they're going to help each other out if they can. 2, they don't always understand what they respond to emotionally, or if they do understand, they don't like it. They don't like the fact that they're attracted to bad boys. They don't like the fact that they're attracted to how the bad boys treat them, and yet they keep coming back for more. Hence, they always say, I'm looking for a nice guy. These type of things. And you're going to see here real quick why I tell you not to do that. He says about him overreacting, that it wasn't a big deal, that Rachel and Eric were still friends, and that she didn't really lie to me since they all were friends. Oh, giving her a way out. The longer they talked, the angrier I was getting. I can accept that people might look at the situation completely different, but the way they were talking to me was like they were calling me stupid. That's when I realized they were trying to do an intervention as though I was the one that had done something wrong. By the time they finished talking, the only message I was taking away was that I was being childish or being angry at being deceived at 4 years. So they're all gaslighting you. I was pissed and told them I didn't appreciate the 3 of them trying to gang up on me for something Rachel had done to me. Yeah, where is them giving her a hard time? That only started another round of them deflecting and trying to make it sound like I was the one being unreasonable. This second round only lasted for about 10 minutes before I got up and thanked them for coming over before I left the apartment to their protests. I might not be the smartest guy on the planet, but I know when someone's trying to manipulate me. Yeah, man, that's exactly what was going on. Now let's look at this. Let's break this down. Why is it in the interest of both this guy's mother and his former fiance's mother to have you go back with her and get married? If any of you guys are thinking things like grandchildren, that's one, or the wedding, that's another. Because remember, the biggest star of the wedding is, of course, the bride. All the eyes are on her. But who is the number 2, number 3 stars? Mother of the bride, mother of the groom. Because they get to invite all their friends in the community, and now they have to call this off and look bad and not have their special day. Because they got their magical day back in the day. Now this is their way of getting it in a way all over again. Self-interest. They don't give a shit about you. Okay? And any good mother that really loves her son would know darn well this chick is doing this, what's going on, and would side with you. But you're not getting that from your own mother. And you're going to find out, guys, his mother has a past. So again, proving, don't take advice from women about other women and relationships and all that, guys. Go to men. Experienced men who've been around the block, who are going to be blunt, tell you what you want to hear, or let me rephrase that, tell you what you may not want to hear, but need to hear. Which this guy is about to do. He says, normally I would have talked to my best friend about something like this, but I still hadn't told anyone outside our families what was going on. I decided to drive over to my dad's house and talk to him. I said in my first story that my parents were divorced, but anytime I asked either of them why they did that, they said they didn't get along. I knew there was more to it, but I never pressed the issue. He says, my dad is a pretty low-key kind of guy. Not really an introvert, but fairly quiet by nature. That's not to say he's a wimp. When I was a kid, I watched him beat the crap out of his brother, and it gave me a completely different outlook on who he was. In any case, he'd always given me good advice, and when what he was telling me wasn't what I wanted to hear, I trust my dad. Good. Because I know in the first video, a lot of you guys were like, where's his dad? And I was wondering that too. When I made it to his house, I found him in his man cave with one of his friends, shooting pool and drinking some beer, so I got a beer and told him what had happened. My dad looked a little shocked when he found out that Rachel had been rubbing one of her exes in my face as long as she had. It was Adam, his friend who was hanging out with him, that asked what I was going to do. I told them I wasn't sure yet, and then I told them that being ganged up by Rachel and her moms. So far, my dad had been pretty quiet, but when he heard that, he started laughing. When I asked him what was so funny, he said that it was hilarious that my mom was giving relationship advice. What'd I tell you about that, guys? And then he told me why they got divorced. She ended up cheating on him with one of her friend's bachelorette parties. So, his mom's a cheater. His mom is the reason for the divorce. And obviously, she cheated the bachelorette party. He found out years later, and that ended the marriage. What'd I tell you? I was pretty shocked to hear that. I knew my mom had strong opinions about just about everything, so I always assumed that they got divorced because she was so bossy. It's amazing how finding out something like that can change your entire opinion about someone you thought you once knew. Exactly. Your mom really showed her true colors by not taking your side and ganging up on you with your freaking ex-fiancée and her mother. But now things are starting to unravel. I asked my dad what he thought I should do about Rachel, and he asked me a few questions. The first one was why she wanted to keep him so close to her. If they broke up because he wouldn't marry her, he couldn't think of a valid reason to keep someone like that as a close friend unless she was trying to get to him. Very wise. This is why you go to men. The second question he asked, if there was nothing going on with him, why would there be a need to hide their former relationship unless the relationship wasn't really over? Exactly. The last question he asked was the hardest for me to come to terms with. He asked if she could lie about something like that for a long time, what else was she lying about? And that's something we all addressed last time, guys. I couldn't answer any of these questions in a way that wasn't making me feel like an idiot. He asked me what was I going to do about Rachel, and I told him I still didn't know. Now, I said that my dad was pretty low-key, and I can't remember a time in my life that he ever used violence on me. When I told him I didn't know what I was going to do, he walked over to me and slapped me in the back of the head before asking me if my mom let me eat paint chips when I was a kid. See? From time to time, all guys need a good smack. That's why I do it. To smack some common sense into you, to smack the stupidity out of you. Exactly. What do you mean you don't know what you're going to do? After all this, you don't know what you're going to do? And I'm joking around with you, bro, but exactly. You needed that. We all need that. I'm not sure if I was more shocked that he smacked me or if said I was so stupid. I deserved to be smacked. I was standing there watching this man that I had nothing but respect for as he laid it out for me. He said if she wasn't already cheating with him, she would be doing it soon enough. He said it was clear that I was her second choice, and a marriage with a woman that could lie to you about something like that was not to be trusted under any circumstance. Yes, exactly. High five to your dad. Exactly. This is why you go to men, guys, about these types of things. You don't go to women. There's too many reasons why that they can F it up for you. And sure, men, fathers, uncles, godfathers, whatever you want to call it, may say things to you that are going to be harsh. You're not going to want to hear because men are not going to sugarcoat things. Well, most men aren't. But we need that. That's why I do this channel. That's why I do these stories, to share these stories and give my very blunt opinions on this and give guys a good smack upside the head when they need it to help knock some sense and help them out. You're not going to get there anywhere else. I mean, our society's been conditioned to be so nice and so soft. He says, maybe the smack to the back of my head knocked a bit of the stupid out, but he was right. My gut was already screaming at me that I couldn't trust her, but to hear someone else say it out loud made it real. I knew what I had to do. I thanked my dad for talking to me and headed back to the apartment. If you didn't think things were good, guys, before, now things are really getting good. When I got home, our moms had left, and Rachel was laying on the couch crying. Of course she was. She's probably looking out the window and she saw your car pulled up. She probably got on the couch, whipped up some quick tears, made her face all red, and off we go. The Oscar goes to Rachel. I hated seeing her like that, but I knew that our relationship was over. The only thing that left to do was rip the Band-Aid off. As soon as she saw me, she got up and tried to wrap me in a hug, promising that everything would work out. I'll admit it was hard not to consider it, but the back of my head was still feeling the slap my dad gave me. Good, because you needed it. I knew there was no way I could trust her if she's able to lie for me for 4 years. I asked her to sit down so we could talk. I didn't really know how to say it, so I just started talking. I told her that I was sorry, but she had lost my trust and I didn't think there was any way for her to get it back. I told her we were breaking up and with just under 4 months left on the apartment lease, either she could stay in the apartment or I would leave, or I would stay and she would leave, but one of us was leaving. Good. A concern I had, bro, in the last story was you had this time left in your lease and both of you were going to stay there. That was not a good idea because it would just be too much shit and she'd probably wear you down, amongst many other things. And a lot of guys in the comments section said, no, get out of there. Figure it out. It's a bad idea. So good. At first, she didn't say anything. She was watching me like the words I said didn't make any sense, but that didn't last very long. I've been with Rachel for 4 years, and until that moment, I had never seen her angry before. Let's just say it wasn't pretty. She started screaming at me for wasting 4 years of her life. Wait a second here. Isn't she the one that lied to you for 4 years? Isn't she the one that rubbed that guy in your face for 4 years? Isn't she the one who probably was having something going on with that guy for 4 years, and you're the one wasting 4 years of her life? Talk about gaslighting. Talk about twisting it around. The same shit that your mom was doing and her mom was doing. Right? Man, you dodged a big one with this chick. And I haven't gotten started, guys, with the revelations that are going to be coming here. It's your fault. How about she wasted 4 years of your life? Because you're in your early 30s. You know, she wasted it. She lied. She ruined it. She said some other hurtful things I'd rather not repeat. But it was clear that I wasn't her favorite person then, and still screaming at me, got up and started throwing things while she stormed to the bedroom, swearing like a sailor. Oh, she's one of those, huh? So she can't communicate in a healthy manner, so screaming, cursing, throwing things at you, breaking things. Thank God you found out about this before you got married, man. She was in the bedroom for about 20 minutes before she came out storming back down the hall, carrying her suitcase and still cussing me out. Before she left the apartment, she told me with some pretty colorful language how much she hated me and slammed the door behind me. Oh Lord, why didn't you have your phone recording so you could send me some video clips of that? You could blur out her face and just that would be entertaining. Of course, I wouldn't put it up, obviously without your permission, but I got, when I hear these stories, guys, about these crazy shit going on, I just want to see some of this stuff. I'm being honest here. She was in the bedroom. I read that part. That was pretty much it. I spent the rest of the week calling and canceling all the wedding venues and services. Of course, it was too late in the game to get a full refund, but it was over. Periodically over that week, I would get some texts and emails from Rachel and her friends telling me how much of a loser I was until I just blocked them all. It was getting so bad I had to change email accounts. In the end, I started getting the feeling that she didn't like me nearly as well as she tried to get me to believe. Yeah, of course, her storming out and cursing you wasn't the end. Of course, she's going to email you and text you all these things. And yes, of course, she has to have her friends involved. That's a common thing in these stories, guys, and I'm sure many of you guys have experienced this, where then her friends have to get involved. And it's like fuck off. Worry about your own lives. And yes, at the end of the day, just block them. She keeps this shit up. You can obviously seek other means to handle her, but one step at a time. It was the following Saturday when her dad and brother came to pick up the rest of her things from my apartment. Her dad apologized to me for how I was treated, and her brother said that Rachel was furious with him. She was blaming him for ruining her relationship with me by telling me about her and Eric's history. Apparently, she had a meltdown when she got back to her parents' house, and her dad said that all she was doing was screaming at everyone and keeping herself locked in her room. So now she's blaming her brother for revealing the part that, because when they were fishing in the previous story, the brother said something, you're a bigger man than me, by hanging out with the ex-boyfriend and having him in the wedding. So now she's blaming the brother. Again, no accountability on her part. It's not my fault I lied to this guy for 4 years. It's not my fault I put him in this position. It's not my fault that I was probably effing this guy for the ex-boyfriend for 4 years. Oh, no. It's his fault for dumping me and overreacting. It's my brother's fault for revealing all this. You see what I mean? It's unbelievable. Psycho. Her dad asked if I had canceled everything for the wedding and if I got all my money back. And I told him I canceled everything, but it still cost me a few $1,000s for deposits. He offered to pay for half of it, but I told him it was okay. Honestly, I appreciate that he offered, but this was my mistake. Her dad's a good guy. You notice, guys, a lot of the stories I do, for those of you who've been watching me for a long time, when these situations completely implode, a lot of times it's the fathers that apologize to the guy about how their daughter was behaving because they feel bad. Meanwhile, the mothers, a lot of them are just, they blame the guy. And a lot of them are pissed because they didn't get to have their wedding that they could be mother of the bride in and all that stuff, you know. That's very nice of him, by the way, to offer to pay for what you lost in the money. But you know what? At the end of the day, what you lost financially was a small amount compared to what you would have lost, and financially, emotionally, all that, if you married this chick. So it was a small price to pay for where you are now. After that Saturday, everything had mostly gone quiet in my life, and I was trying to figure out how to move forward from everything. It was a call I got the following Wednesday from Belle that told me just how deep the rabbit hole went. So here we go, guys. This is the grand finale. Belle is the ex-girlfriend of the dude that was with Rachel. Rachel's his ex-fiancée. The dude, Eric, was the ex-boyfriend, and Belle was the girlfriend. And they found out, and now those two broke up. Belle was crying as she told me that she left Eric after Rachel sent her an email talking about how she and Eric had been hooking up for the last 4 years. And how stupid Belle and me were that we didn't see it right in front of us. I asked her to send me the email so I could see it, and she did. So, the cat is out of the bag. All this time, for the 4 years, they've been hooking up. And remember, this is the same girl that was telling him that you wasted 4 years of my life. And then blamed her brother for ruining the whole thing. Meanwhile, the whole time she's hooking up with this dude. So for you guys out there that said, they're hooking up for 4 years, you were right. For those of you that said, you know what, she kept this guy close on purpose, just to probably make him jealous or see what she was missing or something along those lines, you were right. 4 years. This dude is with her and engaged her. Meanwhile, she's hooking up. I am so sorry, bro, that you went through this. I really am. It's terrible, but thank God you found out. Thank God you now know. It's terrible. She is a piece of garbage. Those two deserve each other. All I can say is, wow. Rachel was completely unhinged. Just when you think you know someone, they pull the mask off and all you see is batshit crazy underneath. Belle said that Eric tried to deny it. Of course, that's what liars and narcissists and those types do. But Rachel started sending her pictures of the two of them together. That started a real shit show with Eric calling Rachel and cussing her out while he was trying to convince Belle to stay with him. So Rachel's going down, Eric's going down. So not only did she get an email about confirming they've been hooking up for 4 years, but also she sent pictures. So in the end, Belle and I were played for fools, and I'm pretty sure that Rachel ruined any chance she might have had with keeping Eric in her life. After this experience, I'm not going to give up on relationships, but I'll never get married. The world has gone crazy. Yeah, bro, I would have avoided relationships and all that for a very long time. You need to heal, and that could take years. You need to work on yourself. But marriage, you know my opinion about it these days. You want to do relationships? Okay, just don't move in with them. You can see the girl, have a good time, but you focus on you, focus on your purpose, doing well in this world, making you the best you can be in all the areas I talk about in this channel. And you want to have someone that you hang out with, have a good time with, okay. But you know darn well to pay attention to the red flags, to look out for red flags. You know darn well that now, since you're not living with her and whatever, that anytime there's any bullshit, whoosh, it's over. She's done. Kick her ass to the curb. And you only spend time with gals that are fun to be around, easygoing, minimal drama. There's always going to be a little drama because they'll get bored otherwise. Minimal drama. Treat you with respect. Treat you like the king in the bedroom, fun, all that. But you don't put them on a pedestal. You don't kiss their butt. You check them when they're being disrespectful, all that. I did end up going out to dinner with Belle last night, and before anyone says anything, no, we did not hook up, and there's no plans on it. Yeah, I'm sure somebody was going to mention that. She's been a friend for more than 3 years, and while I'm sure it would have been fun, I don't think either of us is in a good place mentally for any of that. It's not a never, but for now, it's good to have someone to talk to. So, two fools had dinner and spent the entire evening trash talking with the two a-holes. It was very therapeutic. Yeah, she's an important ally. She's going to help you. She went through the same shit just on the other side, so you can help each other out and heal. So that's the final update for my story. I wish things had turned out differently, but in the end, I guess I dodged a nuke and a future divorce. Thanks for all the advice from you and the community. It really helped. The end. Brother, that was quite a couple of stories, and I thank you for sending it in. I'm really glad that I was able to help you out, and all the guys here that commented helped them out. Thank you, bros, for doing that. And something tells me this isn't over. I'm sure there's going to be updates. So, bro, if there are any interesting details and updates that come on down the road, by all means, send them to us. Guys, I know you guys love these stories. If there are updates, let them know in the comment section. If there are any updates, tell them to please send it, because I guarantee if you tell him that you want some updates, if anything gets interesting, he'll do it. I gotta say this, man. Remember earlier in the story how you told this story, how your mom and her mom, they cornered you at the apartment and made you feel guilty and tried to manipulate him to be with her, even though, as you know the truth now, what she was doing? If it was me, being who I am, I would get a printout of that email that Belle got where your ex admitted that they've been cheating for 4 years. I would get a printout of that, put a nice manila envelope, and get those pictures of those two having relations during the time you're together, as hard as it is to see when you're ready. And I would take a drive over to your mom's house. Say, hey, Mom, we got to talk. Remember when you cornered me? Remember you were manipulating me, make me feel bad because I wanted to end it with her because I didn't trust her, it'd ruin my life, but you kept telling me it was? Well, allow me. And pull out the email, put it in a yellow highlight so she can't miss it, and say, there you go. Oh, and by the way, here's a picture. Oh, there's Belle with a big sausage in her mouth. Oh, isn't that nice? Oh, look, there's Belle with something else in her bum. Isn't that nice? And it ain't my sausage. So remember when you told me about I should marry her? Well, there you go. Have a good day and walk out. But I'm an asshole, but that's me. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Give this guy a shout out for his good work here, and also let him know that you would like future updates if they certainly come along. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.